Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. Unsettled weather out there this morning, and that unsettled weather will continue as we move through the day. Today, rain showers expected to continue on and off as we move through the day. Seeing some heavier pockets of rain moving through, causing some breezy winds, but we are still currently below wind advisory criteria and expecting these conditions to continue through working hours and into the evening. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we have the stall boundary draped across the eastern part of the country. Along with that, this broad area of shower activity that's tracking towards the northeast. As this boundary continues to stall over the area, we'll continue to see in these rain showers tracking over our local area, bringing again showers, possibly even a thunderstorm at times, about a 20% chance of that, and some pockets of heavier rain. Could see this boundary lift a little further north, bring in some milder temperatures, but overall we'll see temperatures fairly stagnant in the 50s, currently in the low 50s right now. And then later tonight we'll see this boundary come and push everything out of here and bring in some much cooler and breezier conditions for tomorrow. Looking at the upper level winds from this morning, sounding some easterly winds near the surface, coming west-southwesterly to southwesterly as we go up through the column, seeing our peak wind today of 69 knots at 25,000 feet, and the freezing level is at 11,700 feet. We'll take a look at the current local radar. We could see plenty of shower activity moving through with some of that. There's yellows and orange indicating some pockets of heavier downpours pushing through. Overall, light to moderate rain with those pockets of heavier rain continuing as we move through the area today. We'll take a look at the zoomed out visible satellite and composite radar. We can see that track of shower activity still progressing and expecting to continue over the area and staying socked in the clouds with fairly low ceilings as we continue through the day today. Looking at the high resolution model, see what we can expect. We'll see, again, as mentioned, continued showers, possibly a thunderstorm, about a 20% chance of a thunderstorm continuing through the daytime hours today. You can see some of these yellow and red simulated reflectivity values indicating a chance for some heavy rain at times, and this all continues as we move into the evening time frame until about midnight. As we get to midnight, we'll start to see most of the activity moving off the coast with still some lingering showers around, and then as we get towards the 4 a.m. time frame, that second boundary comes through and finally starts to push the rain activity out of the area, and we'll start to see those winds increasing out of the northwest as that happens, and we'll see some clouds clearing out as we move into the day on Tuesday, where Tuesday looks to be much cooler and some breezy conditions, likely seeing a wind advisory through the day on Tuesday. Zooming out, look at the longer term forecast here. We see these lower thickness values setting up over the area as we move through the day on Tuesday, indicating some cooler air, much cooler than average air, moving in with those breezy conditions. So quite chilly through the day on Tuesday, but overall dry conditions. We'll see the winds start to subside a bit as we go overnight into Wednesday as high pressure builds in over the region. Continuing dry and clear conditions. Another cold evening, Tuesday evening, likely hitting just below freezing, and then Wednesday will be another chilly day with those winds slowly starting to turn out of the south as we get later in the day as that high pressure moves eastward. But overall dry conditions through much of the working hours for Thursday as things look at this time. But as you can see, later in the day and into the evening, we'll have this disturbance moving into the area as another trough tries to dig over the eastern part of the country, possibly a few showers late in the day or more so into the evening, and then the best chance of rain will start to arrive as we get into the day on Friday as we see this trough digging in over the area and a broad area of low pressure developing and moving off the coast. Moving into Saturday, it does look like much of the precip will taper off, but can't rule out some lingering shower activity as that trough still sits overhead and this area of low pressure tries to come together just off the coast, and then looks to pull away as we go into the end of the weekend. European model doesn't linger that low, close enough to bring in some light showers on Sunday, but other models indicating that pushing out a bit faster. Still some uncertainty with that, but would say mostly dry on Sunday, but can't rule out some lingering rain depending on the progress of that area of low pressure. So if we look at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, we do have that red risk for winds at or above, red risk for precip continuing through the working hours and into the evening, as that on-off shower activity will continue And yellow risk for that lightning chance until about 20 local, as we will see a slight chance, about a 20% chance of some uh, thunderstorm activity or lightning embedded with some of these heavier rain showers moving through, and did increase our risk for winds that are about 25 knots to yellow as we move through working hours today, as some of these heavier showers have indicated some stronger winds just below wind advisory criteria, so can't rule that out. Expecting those winds out of the east-northeast 10 to 15 knots, gusting up to 23 knots, and then shifting more northerly as we get into the later afternoon and into the evening time frame. Do keep an orange risk for those low ceilings and visibilities with the shower activity pushing through. Again, particularly with that heavier activity as it pushes through, will be those lower ceilings and visibilities. Going into the evening, we'll see those winds briefly dropping off before picking back up as that front pushes through during the first part of the early morning hours of Tuesday. Those winds will be shifting out of the northwest, gusting up to 22 knots initially. We once again pick up a yellow risk for winds at about 25 knots, and then increase to gusts up to 25 knots, increasing to an orange risk as we get to the start of the day on Tuesday. And that's when we'll start to see those clouds breaking, and we'll see more in the way of sun as we get into the day on Tuesday. So overall, rainy day ahead with a slight chance for some thunderstorm activities and breezy conditions through the day, as well as really picking up breezy tomorrow. High temperatures staying in the 50s, and we'll see lows just touching the upper 30s as we get into the start of the day on Tuesday, as much cooler air starts to move in. Slightly above normal tides at this time, and then Tuesday, as mentioned, breezy conditions. Looks to be a red risk for those winds that are about 25 knots, likely seeing a wind advisory through much or most likely all of the day on Tuesday. Partly cloudy overall. Could see some periods of mostly cloudiness with a cumulus field developing. Much chillier with a high of 50 degrees, so well below average this time of year. Tuesday evening, very cold evening with a low getting down below freezing of 31 degrees. We'll see a slightly breezy wind early on, and that will start to subside as we move through the evening with clear skies. Back to green conditions for our weather risk that continues into Wednesday. Overall, mostly sunny, but still chilly as we move through the day on Wednesday with a high of 52 degrees. Looking at the extended forecast here, we'll see clouds building back in ahead of that next disturbance as we go through the day on Thursday. Looking breezy, and then we pick up about a 20% chance of rain late in the day. Back to more seasonable temperatures with a high of 60 degrees. Then that next best chance of rain with that disturbance pushes through on Friday with a 70% chance of rain that time. Could see maybe a few thunderstorms embedded with that activity as well. Otherwise breezy, high of 63. And then moving into Saturday, 20% chance of some lingering rain showers on Saturday. Otherwise mostly cloudy and breezy. Still continue with seasonable temperatures, and that continues into Sunday. Right now looking dry for Sunday. Still breezy and mostly cloudy. But again, that will depend on that area of low pressure and how quickly it tracks away from the local area. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. Daily Weather Briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.